Good morning, everyone. We'll call our meeting to order. Senator, can you shut the door, please? Thank you. Looks like we have Senator Hawk on WebEx. Anyone else on WebEx? I don't see any, so. Okay, first item we have is a request for bill introductions. Does anyone have any bills to introduce? Seeing none. Next item is Senate Bill, a hearing on Senate Bill 16, which removing the requirement that certain entities submit certain reports to the Division of Post Audit. And we'll have a revisor overview by Scott Abbott on WebEx. Scott, welcome. We're not hearing you. Are you muted?
Mr. Chairman, this is Senator Hawk, just checking to see if you can hear me.
Senator, we can hear you, but we're having trouble with audio from Scott.
Okay, good or bad.
Senator Hawk, are you in the building?
I'll never tell. No, I'm home.
Okay, that's fine. We're going to do final action on the bill we heard the other day. I'm just curious if he was going to be able to come up and vote or if he was unavailable.
I'm sorry that I'm unavailable, but
okay, no problem.
I'll trust all my colleagues to do the government's good work today in the Senate.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I don't mean to interrupt, but this is Jill Walters. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Jill.
Okay, so I'm just going to go have Scott come into my office if he can't get connected.
Yeah, we can see him, we just can't hear him.
I'm so sorry. I'm not going to sit in my chair.
All right, Mr. Chairman, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you, Scott.
All right, sorry for the technical difficulties again. And good morning, committee. Senate Bill number 16 was introduced by the Legislative Post Audit Committee. As the chairman mentioned, it would eliminate the current requirement that certain reports are submitted to either the Legislative Post Audit Committee or to the post auditor. There are 4 sections in the bill, one for each of those reports that would be removed from that requirement. The first one is section 1. That's the report of actual expenditures from nonprofit corporations providing legal services for indigent inmates in Kansas correctional institutions. That report would still be submitted to the director of the budget. Section 2 is a report of write-offs of accounts receivable and taxes receivable from the director of accounts and reports. Section 3 is an annual CPA audit of corporations under contract with and substantially controlled by the Board of Regents or a state educational institution. That report would still be submitted to the Board of Regents. And Section 4 is reports from the Secretary of Revenue of any tax abatement that reduces a final tax liability by $5,000 or more. That report would still be submitted to the Secretary of State and to the Attorney General. If enacted, the bill would take effect upon publication in the statute book, so July 1 of 2021.
Thank you, Scott. Are there any questions for Scott? Seeing none, Scott, thank you. We'll move on to proponents. We have Justin Stowe, Director of Legislative Post Audit. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Practically speaking, this bill is very, very straightforward. As you'll see in our testimony, just very simple, one-page testimony front and back. This bill was introduced last year. It was placed on and passed out of the Senate consent calendar, arrived in House Appropriations right about the time that COVID-19 hit. So I tend to think that's the reason it didn't go anywhere. Had a lot to do. Essentially, all this bill is trying to do is, several years ago, our office was involved in overseeing the CPA firms that do the state's financial audits. We are no longer in that business. Actually, at our request and with the support of the legislature, you took us out of that business. That's just not our forte. So we're not involved in those audits. Those are contracted now and overseen by the Department of Administration. We still get reports from these various entities because state law requires that they provide them to us. They are financial audit reports. They mean nothing to me or my staff. They don't mean anything to our committee. I'm sure they mean something to the financial auditors who still have access to them. They may mean a little bit to some of the other entities on this list, so those remain. But the truth is, this information is not necessary for our operations. So we felt like in the interest of lean and efficient government, we should stop making them send them to us because it takes their time and effort and then we have to track them. And so just from our perspective, just a small way to clean up these reports so we're not wasting their time, not wasting ours. Mr. Chair, happy to answer any questions on the bill.
Thank you, Justin. Does anyone have any questions? Senator Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Justin, for being here. Just a quick question. Section 2, all of the other sections, those reports are being diverted to different agencies. Section 2 on the write-offs for council is not being forwarded to any other agency. Can you kind of explain the rationale for why that wouldn't be passed on to the appropriate agency? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Senator, thank you for the question. I think in that case, it's already with the appropriate agency. So the one compiling that report is the Department of Administration. And what it is they on occasion have to work with agencies. They provide oversight of individual agencies who are writing off bad debts, uncollectible accounts receivable. So that's really under the jurisdiction of the Department of Administration, and they are working with individual agencies to do that. All they were providing us is a summary report of here's all the debts that we have written off. So, but from my understanding, I mean, the financial auditors may want to look at those bad debts, and they will. So as part of the financial audits, the auditors will get into the details and might ask agencies, how come you have X million dollars being written off? So that information would still presumably, if it's relevant, be audited by the financial auditors, the CPA firms the state contracts with. I don't really see the need for that summary report to go necessarily anywhere else, and neither did the committee. I would leave it to the wisdom of the legislature. If you all thought there was another party that could benefit from that, we are certainly amenable. We just don't want it to come to us.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Do we have any other proponents? Okay, we'll move on to opponents. Are there any opponents? Seeing none, I'll point your attention to the neutral written only from Blake Flanders, Kansas Board of Regents. So that's in your packet if you haven't noticed that. Are there any other questions or discussion on Senate Bill 16? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the hearing on Senate Bill 16. At this time, I'd like to do final action on previous bills heard, and I'd like to see what the committee's desire is for Senate Bill 1. Senator Clays.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would make a motion to pass out Senate Bill 1 favorably, and this item being of a non-controversial nature, have it placed on the consent calendar.
We have a second by Senator McGinn. Is there any opposition to putting this on the calendar? Okay. Okay, we'll take a vote now. Do we need a roll call this or not? Means we've got Zoom, because Zoom they can't vote anyway, so, okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'd also think it is non-controversial and that we had passed Senate Bill 16 out last year in a consent calendar, and it had passed, and so if that's the will of the committee, we'll go ahead and work Senate Bill 16. Senator Clays.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would make a motion then, without objection, to pass out Senate Bill 16 favorably, and the item also being of a non-controversial nature, place it on the consent calendar.
Are there any objections? We have a second by Senator Solentrum. Anyone object? Okay. Senator Petty, I apologize. We didn't see you on the Zoom. Were you on Zoom, or did I?
Yeah, I tried to get on, but then I just started coming upstairs.
I apologize. I would have waited for you to vote. I mean, is there any way? Probably, I guess.
I had stopped in the hall.
Okay. Didn't count anyway. Okay. Okay. I just want to apologize. I didn't know you was on your way up, or I would have waited. Oh, okay. So with no objection, and all in favor of passing Senate bill out to the consent calendar, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. With that, we are complete with our work for today. So thank you all. Appreciate it.